welcome back to another year of Emmaus Small Groups. We're so glad that you've decided to continue on with this initiative, with this paradigm that we're setting up here at the parish, which is meant to just give that structure of family, that structure of support, and that structure of just coming together to pray and be with one another in camaraderie. So thank you again for joining us. As you might recall, the first time your group started or began, you would have gone through what we call the 4 introduction videos for Emmaus Small Groups. Those 4 videos were the road, the conversation, the prayer, and the content. And those were the 4 first videos focused on. We also wanted to kind of create something that would be useful for years 2 and 3 and beyond for your groups to kick off their year. And the idea is that it would be a kind of a one-time video that's encapsulating what those first 4 initial videos or intro videos stated and went through. The idea behind it is that we thought it was a good time just to kind of remember and recall what it is we're doing and why it is we're doing it. Those intro videos we felt set kind of a foundation or a platform for which to grow the group upon. And so we want each year for the group to kind of again recall all of those intro videos and what we're doing moving forward so there's clarity and we all do it in just the best way possible. So I wanted to kind of summarize for you some of those major points that we went through in the intro videos just to start you guys off this year on the right foot moving forward. So first off, if you recall the first video, we actually talked about the idea of the road. And in that idea of the road, we broke open the Emmaus story itself from Luke chapter 24. And in that chapter, we walked through and talked through this story in which we see the disciples walking together, they encounter Jesus, and they have some great conversation and some great questions. This is kind of an encapsulation of what we hope Emmaus Small Groups are, where it's people journeying together, and in that journey, they encounter Christ and develop a friendship and a relationship with him. And that's what we hope or intend for these groups to be. We know that this doesn't happen easily. It takes great participation and work from your leaders, from the committee that works on it, and really the whole idea behind it is that people will walk together and journey at the different phases in their life. I know that for myself, my faith looks different now than it did when I was 5, and it looks different when I was 15 and when I was 25, and 5 years ago my life looked different than it does now. You know, my faith life and how I live it out looks different, and so it's a journey. And as we journey together, we need that support, we need that help, we need people to be accountable to and that can help us in this road, and that's what this is all about. And that's what the first video kind of spoke to, was this basic philosophical mindset of Emmaus Small Groups, not just being another program that can be done, but rather a lifestyle, an infrastructure in our parish so that you can feel supported, so that you can grow in your journey, in your faith walk. The second video, as you might recall, was called The Conversation. And in that video, we talked a lot about vulnerability, this need, this desire for us to be vulnerable, because it's only in being vulnerable and kind of letting down our guard, taking off our masks, that we can truly be loved and to love in return. I gave the story or an analogy in there that we see Christ himself modeling this, right? We have God, the one who is himself existence, the one who is being itself. He actually becomes a being. He becomes a man, making himself utterly vulnerable, and he does it so he can draw close to us. He does this because he wants to be in a relationship with us, and this is the best way to do it. So the encouragement in the conversation video was really to, as much as possible, make yourself vulnerable during these times. Not in a weird way, but in a way that's navigating that in a way that helps you to draw closer to the people around you and to accept the people around you that are being vulnerable in the small group time. We can do that by a few different steps. One is just praying for one another, supporting one another in and outside of meetings. Another one is just holding that as sacred time. So what happens in a meeting stays in the meeting. What conversation and everything that is spoken in the meetings stay there for confidentiality purposes. We also mentioned the idea that if you're kind of a shy person and you have a tough time kind of breaking out of yourself or sharing, you're much more of a wallflower, we encourage you to kind of step out in faith and to speak and to share and to give your point of view. If you're one of those people that you find it's really easy to share and you maybe overshare or share very often and easily, we ask that maybe you kind of regulate yourself, hold yourself back a little bit, make sure that you're spending the time listening to others and not dominating any conversation. We also ask that during that time, that there is this idea of the open chair policy, which many of you I know in your groups have utilized. You've invited people, you've invited family, friends, coworkers to check things out, to participate. And many people have actually utilized this, and we've gained numbers of people in our large entity of Emmaus Small Groups because of it. So thank you, and please keep doing that. Thinking through that this isn't just about us forming a clique, but how is this somehow for the sake of others as well? That's kind of what we covered when it talked about the content. When we talked about prayer in that video, we spoke about this great need and how God tells us, and Jesus himself specifically says in the Gospels, he says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in their midst. We see this dynamic where God desires for us to pray, not just as individuals, that's great, and he wants that, but he wants us to pray also in community. He wants us to pray with others, and often it's with others that our own prayer individually grows and flourishes, and we see how other people pray and we learn from it. We understand more deeply how they are, because it's being vulnerable when you're praying with and in front of other people. And so we felt that prayer was just an essential element of these Emmaus small groups, a time where we come together and support each other in that way. The fourth and final video that you guys had was called The Content. And obviously one of the paramount things in Emmaus small groups is that we don't want people to have homework. We don't want it to be too burdensome or tiresome. We want it to be an opportunity where you take a moment of retreat, whether it be every week or every other week, whenever your group gathers. That it's a moment just to kind of click pause, time out on just the world and the craziness that might be happening around you, and it's sacred time to be with your group, to just be there and to listen to some sort of content, some sort of video that just helps you to better appreciate what God's doing in your own life, but also what he's doing in general, how God is moving and acting always and everywhere. The content is all based around, for the most part, the readings of every single given weekend. So our hope is that by participating in these Emmaus small groups, it not only gives you a family to walk with and to support you and to be in this faith walk and lifestyle with, but it also enlightens and deepens your experience when you go to Mass on the weekends, so that you've already taken the time to reflect on, to think on, and to chew on these scriptures, these great truths that God has revealed to us, so that when you come to Mass on the weekends, it's that much more impactful and that much more beneficial for you, and you can hear God speak to you once again, maybe in a different and nuanced way, because you've already reflected on it. So this is the kind of the intro video. Just wanted to share these kind of 4 major bullet points. Again, these were from the intro videos, but we want to share them again just to kick off and lead off this upcoming year of Emmaus Small Groups. I pray that you guys have a wonderful year meeting. I hope that you're able to have some great camaraderie, some great meals, and really support one another through all that you go through.